We're at Malabar Farms in Lucas, Ohio, and we were going to investigate Ceely Rowe's house, but unfortunately they won't let us in unless it's a haunt tour, and they don't have those until the nighttime. So we are going to investigate the main house on the farm grounds, which is also purportedly haunted. And here we go.
He was born in 1896, grew up just north of Mansfield, helped his grandfather out a lot on the farm, and that love of the land was instilled in him from a very young age. So he always grew up farming and loved the land. And when he graduated from high school, he went off to college to Cornell to study agriculture. However, he was only on campus for a little while before his grandfather needed some help back at the farm. So he went home, helped his grandfather on the farm for a while. But his mother had high aspirations for him and wanted him to be a writer. So she decided to send him back to school. So back to college he went to Columbia University in New York City to study journalism. But, of course, after a few months on campus, he saw an advertisement for ambulance drivers for World War I. The American Ambulance Company was all up and down the East Coast on college campuses trying to recruit young college men to go and drive their ambulance in World War I. So before the United States was even in World War I, Louis Bromfield was driving an ambulance for the French Army. At the end of the war, he hung around France for a while because he loved the culture and the countryside there, but then of course eventually needed a job because he needed some money. So he went back to New York City, not back to Columbia University to study, but he went to get a few jobs, and he did land a few jobs. He was working for the Associated Press in their newsroom. He was part of the original staff of Time magazine. He was a play critic, he was a music critic, and he was trying to write and publish his first novel. So a very busy man, but meeting a lot of very interesting people at the same time. He met a young lady. She was a New York socialite by the name of Mary Appleton Wood, and they got married in 1921. She was the daughter of a prominent attorney in New York City, so quite a catch for this little farm boy from Mansfield, Ohio. But then he also met a young actor who was starting his career in New York City at the time. Can any of you maybe guess who that actor was?
Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart. And you've never been here, right?
No.
But everybody, that's so funny. People who know absolutely nothing else about Malabar, the one thing they know is that Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were married here. They were married right there between the stairs on May 21st, 1945. So Louis Bromfield and Humphrey Bogart became friends when they were both young, starting their careers, and they had a lifelong friendship. So that's why the wedding took place here. It wasn't fame and fortune and all those Hollywood connections, actually. It was that they had been friends for a long time. So finally, anyways, in 1924, Louis Bromfield published his first novel. It was called The Green Bay Tree, and it was a bestseller. So, hey, he's good. For the very next year, Possession, his second novel, again, a bestseller. So he's on a roll, 2 bestsellers in a row. So he decides to take a nice vacation. So he went to France with his wife, and by then they had a young daughter. They went to France for just a couple-month vacation, but they stayed for 13 years. They loved the place so much, and they found this house in a town just north of Paris and took an 80-year lease out on this big stone home. They called it the Presbytery, and they started entertaining all the expats who were living in Paris at the time, having a wonderful life. He continued writing. His third novel, Early Autumn, was published while he was living there, and in 1927 it won a Pulitzer Prize. So he has 3 books, 3 bestsellers, and a Pulitzer. Sam Goldwyn from Hollywood noticed that and decided to recruit him and hire him to write screenplays for Hollywood. And now imagine this is like 1928, 1929. He was paying Louis Bromfield $2,500 a week to write screenplays for Hollywood.
Wow.
$10,000 a month in 1928, 1929. Probably translate to well over $1 million today. So he was quite wealthy. Able to do whatever he wanted, and one thing he wanted to do was just stay in Paris and France and continue writing. So he bought out his contract from Sam Goldwyn and just stayed in France until World War II was about to start, and he didn't want his family to have to experience all the things he had seen during World War I. So in 1938, he came back here to Richland County. This area is known as Pleasant Valley. This is southern Richland County, and he purchased 3 farms at the very beginning. Where this house stands, there was an 1870s 12-room farmhouse. He kept 4 of those 12 rooms, ripped off the remaining 8, and added 28 more of his own. So if you do the math, that's 32 rooms, and there's 12,000 square feet to a big house. So it is a very big house, right? Probably qualifies as a mansion. But it's not called the Bromfield Mansion, it's called the Big House. Because I think, well, to me, it's like a farmhouse on steroids. It's just a really big house. It's very nice. You come in here, it's a grand entryway. It's beautiful, right? But after you walk through here, you'll realize they lived in this like it was a farmhouse. He had dogs, boxer dogs, and he didn't have 1 or 2. He had like 5 or 6 dogs that he would allow to come in here. So about a year and a half after the family moved into the house, people who had helped to build the house came in and they said, it looks like they lived there for 20 years because he lived in it like it was a farmhouse. You'll feel that welcoming warmth as we go through the house. So see if you don't agree with me by the end. Anyway, it took about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half to build this house to Bromfield specifications. And you'll enjoy all the little details that he added. In fact, the downstairs was wired for sound. Under the stairs on the right side there is his stereo system, as it were, with all of his records. He has 45, 78, 33s in there. And up here, this is a special room. You might want to take a look at this room before we head on. This room was the telephone room. So, a little kind of common in that time, actually. The only way you could have a telephone was it was on a party line. Anybody remember a party line?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, on a party line, other folks can listen in on your conversations, right? So when Humphrey Bogart called to make some plans for the wedding here, other people listened in. And so on the morning of their wedding, half of Richland County was out on it. Because they knew they were going to be here to have a glimpse of the famous couple. So you can take a look in there. Really cool thing. About 90% of the things you see in this house are original to the house, the wallpaper and everything. Well, the wallpaper in that room is really special because it was designed by the man who did all the costumes for The Wizard of Oz. His name was Adrian. Now, the rest of the wallpaper in the house was designed by a man named Jimmy Rushitz. So you can take a quick peek in there if you'd like, but then we're going to head up this ramp. We have to move on. There's another group following us, but we'll have to... daughter. She grew up here. This is her home. And a very nice lady. But they live in Brazil. So she was here in 2012. She will be here, health permitting, this year as well. That's the plan. So if you'd like to meet her, come for Heritage Day.
How old would she be now?
She's born 1932. Season in the monsoon season in India, and I got to watch it. We went to our public library, Richland County Public Library, of course has everything Bromfield, and got the DVD, watched it. It's kind of long and very sappy, I will say. The acting is not what you're used to nowadays. It's really melodramatic, but Byron Power's good to look at. And the flood scene was really impressive. I was very impressed. For that time. I'm used to seeing like every sci-fi movie with you see strings carrying all the spaceships, you know, or smoke coming out the back, those kind of things. So this was really impressive. I encourage you to seek this out. Sometimes the Turner Classic Movie Station plays this, or again, maybe if your library has interlibrary loan, you can.
How many bathrooms did she say there were?
There are 10 bathrooms.
10 bathrooms. Thank you.
If I can get you to come to this side of the staircase, please.
Okay.
Oh, a lot.
It's very pretty. It is.
This room was the daughter's living room. This is a place they could entertain their friends, the adults downstairs. Plus, each girl had her own bedroom. So the blue room was Anne, the yellow room was Hope, the rose colored room there was Charlotte. And it had a bathroom. Their bathroom. But the house doesn't end there, it goes on. There's another staircase that comes up with another pantry that the girls can use. Plus, at the top of the garage.
Food. They say like they miss like things like coffee or like chocolate.
They do.
Chocolate is.
Darlene, ask Darlene. Every single person that she has contacted has mentioned their favorite food over and over again.
Coffee, chocolate. Like,
They talk about it all the time.
Well, they say that some people incarnate just for the physical experiences. You can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, you can't get, because there's no,
In heaven, there must not be beer.
or pizza, or spaghetti.
Don't hit your ride in the car, you can come. Yeah.
oh yeah, you want her to follow you home?
Yeah, really? Seriously, Zach?
He's the one who'd be safe. Oh no.